أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه وله وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, this is a section here. The second part of the section is talking about the Hajj, right? The Hajj rules. We talked about the rules of qisas, this criminal justice and punishment. And then we talked about the rules of wasiyah, rules of fasting. Now there are a few rules and the rules of Hajj as well. The first section have a couple of rules, inshallah, we'll mention them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving us about a question that the Sahaba asked Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And you will hear that in Surah Al-Baqarah a few times. يَسْأَلُونَكَ, they ask you. That's one word, but it's a sentence. In Arabic, a sentence can be one word, right? يَسْأَلُونَكَ. سأل is the root. سأل, he asked, right? يسأل, asking. They are يسأل, one person, right? يسألوا, they are asking. يسألون, they are asking about something. يسألونك, they are asking you. You see how? So يسألونك, they asking you. Means Allah talking to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Asking you about what? عن الأهلة. عن, about. الأهلة is the plural of hilal. Plural of what? Hilal. أهلة يعني the month, every month. Hilal, right? It's the same. Physical moon, right? Doesn't change. But the way you see it as a hilal, crescent, that increases and then it becomes like waxing and waning and all of those things that they mention. And then it becomes like full moon, then it decreases again and it becomes a crescent, then it disappears, then a crescent, like that, right? So that's called a hill. And what the question is, they ask Rasulullah why it's small, little, and then it increases, and then it becomes little again. They did not know the astronomical phenomena, right? They don't know that. Why you see that part of it and you don't see it. They did not know the sun comes in the middle and all of these things that we study now, right? Then Allah telling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to answer them, but not to answer that question. And that's called the answer of the wise. Like the answer of the wise, when you ask me a question, I give you another answer, telling you that that's not the question you should ask that, right? So assuming that the proper question is asked. So they say يسألونك عن الأهلة, they're asking you about the moon. The Sunnah tells us what was the question. The question was why it is thin, then it becomes thicker, then it's fuller, then decreases again. Why? So instead, the question should have been what we use that for, right? That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla said the moon, it changes, so you can do such and such and such. He did not say why it is changing, like what is the result of. It says what is it for, right? So someone come to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and asked them, when is the day of judgment? He said, what have you prepared for it? So you should ask me, what should I prepare for the day of judgment, right? That's called Jawab al-Hakim. What is it called? Jawab al-Hakim. Jawab al-Hakim is the answer of the wise person. So you ask me something, I give you an answer that might be in a form of another question, or it can be another fact, another answer. But I'm telling you, that's what you should answer, right? When is the exam? Are you ready for it? You see? Like that, This is called Jawab al-Hakim. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, they ask you about the ahilla. قل, tell them, هي مواقيت للناس والحج. مواقيت للناس والحج. They are مواقيت. ميقات means timing. The timing. للناس, for people. that they know how to calculate their business transactions, how to calculate the zakah, how to know the beginning and the end of fasting, the iddah for women. It's calculated by the lunar, not by the solar. The pregnancy and the birth and all of that, and it's important. There is a point of reference or calculation that the pregnancy, the breastfeeding, the custody, the iddah in the case of divorce, all of these things comes in the beginning and the end of the moon. Okay, so moon here is important too. That's why some people they assume that we worship the moon, or that's why we put a crescent in the minaret or the things, because we worship the moon. But that's not the point. The point is the moon is important in our calculations. Based on its calculations, we worship Allah. We don't worship the moon. But you get the point. Yani. People think that we worship the moon because we go by the lunar calendar, we calculate by the lunar calendar and all of that. So the months are the 12 months, Muharram, Safar, Rabi' and all of this. And this is how we calculate. So even our age, we are older than what we think. Because every 33 years you add 1 year. 1 year more. Every year there is 11 days more. I mean, in your age, yani. You age faster.
But we look good.
But the solar makes you a little bit younger. Yeah. I remember that I think King Farouk of Egypt, when they wanted to put him on the throne, he had to be like 16 years old, right? And he was not. So they were afraid that I think his uncle or someone will become the guardian. So they asked the Sheikh how to do it. Then they told them, you calculate by the lunar calendar. So there was like a couple of months there, and that was a saving point. So he became the king. Yeah, anyways. So, and there are many, like in Saudi Arabia, they calculate by the lunar. All the government and everything, they go by the lunar calendar. That's why in the Hajj time, sometimes it becomes an issue. The beginning of the Hajj and all that. So when the people book hotels, you book the hotels by the solar, right? But if they announce the Hajj or that, so which hotel you're going to be staying at? Because they booked it like and it becomes an issue, a bigger problem. Like, I remember one time they said that the Hajj is not yet, right? But people have to leave the Mecca and go to Medina, right? So the first of the Hajj will be in Medina, right? But now they said tomorrow is not the first of the Hajj. Okay? So now it is extra day, right? So they have to stay in Mecca, but their booking finished, and their booking will start in Medina the next. So they were in a limbo in the middle. So some people actually they spend the night in between, yani, like that. So anyways, Allah Azza wa Jalla said it is mawaqitu lin-nas wal Hajj. Now I understand what it means, right? So it is important for the Hajj time. Allah emphasized on it, and the mawaqit lin-nas to know their affairs among themselves. We talked about fasting, and fasting also, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said you fast when you see the moon and you break the fast when you see the moon. So it marks the beginning of the month. Calculation of zakah also. That's why people, don't want to calculate. They said, I'll give zakah Ramadan. So just easier, right? So give it Ramadan. But calculation of zakah happen also. The year is like the lunar, not the solar. Because if you calculate by the solar, that means you will give the zakah late. So the zakah is due upon you, but you delayed it. Alright? So, and the iddah of the women is not by that, but it happens by the lunar. Right? It happens by the lunar. For women who have the period, it goes by the period, right? But for the women who are not in the period, then you go by, because Allah said 3 months, not 3 periods. Alright? So 3 months for that. And so on. So there are many things that goes in accordance with al-ahillah. Alright? Then Allah said, لَيْسَ الْبِرُّ the last section 177 was also ليس البر, right? The virtue is not to face east and west. It's important to face, but that's not the point. The virtue is to do such and such and such. Here Allah Azza wa Jalla is referring to another act. People, when they were in a state of ihram in Jahiliyyah, they used to go Hajj and Umrah too, right? But they have lots of shirky things in it. So one of the traditions, they said that in a state of ihram, to be virtuous, you don't enter from, if you are in a state of ihram and you got out of your home, you don't come back until you finish, right? But in case you came back to your home, you don't enter from the door. So if they are from the people in the tent and all that, they enter from the back door. And if they are from the people who have building, like, bricks and, those mud houses and all that, they make like a hole in the wall and they enter and exit from it. So they feel like, to enter from, they want to reverse things, like out of humility to Allah or something like that. So Allah is saying that that's not virtue. It doesn't make sense, right? وليس البر بأن تأتوا البيوت من ظهورها. I don't think you are being pious and righteous and virtuous just entering the house from the back, right? ولكن البر من اتقى. The real virtue is the one who fear Allah. What does that mean? In accordance to how Allah wants to be feared, right? So ولكن البر من اتقى. So if Allah Azza wa Jalla said virtue, to be fearful of Allah is not doing that act. But to fearful of Allah is to be pious. What does it mean? Mean the way Allah prescribed. Okay? So the simplest definition of taqwa, my sister, is to avoid what Allah prohibited and always be eager to do what Allah ordered. Make sense? Very simple. So don't feel about taqwa as something hard to achieve. It is hard to do, but easy to achieve. Right? You are among the muttaqeen if you are constant in avoiding the haram and doing the halal. You are muttaqeen as long as you are continuing doing that. And the more you do that, the more you are from muttaqeen. Okay? It's like someone in the race. And you are in the more you are in the race, the more credit you get. Okay? You get out of the race, now you are out of the race. To come back again, it's not the same. Right? So taqwa is you are constant in doing that. ولكن البر من اتقى وأتوا البيوت من أبوابها. Enter your doors, enter your houses from the main doors as it is, and it has nothing to do with your virtue. Alright? Then comes ahkam, another hukm of fighting في سبيل الله, قتال. In the time of Rasulullah, there was a state of war between him and the mushrikeen of Arabia, right? Quraysh from one side, all the other tribes in the Battle of Al-Ahzab, for example. Okay? So these are rules. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is setting the rules. Those rules, the outcome of it shows us that fighting is not intended in it for its own thing. As people think that being a Muslim means being violent. Being a Muslim means you kill people. Being a Muslim means it's either they convert or you kill them. But that's not true. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He said, وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Fight in the in the cause of Allah, the path of Allah. الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ. Those who fight you. So this is more of a defense here, right? So you are fighting, right? Those who are fighting you. وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا. And don't transgress. Means there is limitation. If they surrender, you don't transgress. If they run away, you don't transgress, right? وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا. Just do fight within the need of the fight. Okay? So there is a war. It is more of a war not to destroy. It's not the way the warfare right now. From World War on, and before that the Crusades. It is just to wipe out anything in your path that disagrees with you. But that's not the way that Islam's fighting is, right? Islam fighting those who fight you, or those who want to prevent you from practicing your religion or talking about it, right? By violence, then we go reply to that. So this is the rules of fighting or qital في سبيل الله الذين يقاتلونكم ولا تعتدوا. ولا تعتدوا do not transgress. إن الله لا يحب المعتدين. This ayat Abdullah ibn Abbas said that it was revealed in Sulh al-Hudaybiyah. You know, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after the battle of Al-Khandaq, trench and all that, he wanted to go to Umrah, right? And then he stopped in Al-Hudaybiyah, they prevented him from entering, then they make the Sulh, right? You come next year, we have 10 years, we no fight. If someone become Muslim, we don't return. If someone become mushrik, if someone become Muslim, you have to return. If someone come for us, we don't return to you. There was transgression, right? So anyways, this ayat came because the Sahaba were kind of not happy because there was an Ashur al-Hurum. Yani they were in the time that they know that they are not fighting, right? They are not supposed to fight. Going to the month of Rajab, which is month al-Shahr al-Haram, and no fighting. So now they are preventing us. What if we fight? That means we have to fight in the months of Haram. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, yeah, if fighting comes and they are preventing you from doing things, then you will fight, right? You will fight. But anyways, Allah saved them from the fighting. Okay? So there was no fighting. But Allah Azza wa Jalla is making the rule clear. وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ الَّذِينَ قَاتِلُوا. That's why in fiqh says no fighting in Shahr al-Haram except if the enemy starts. So you are not initiating things here, right? So when they start. سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ, meaning Quraysh. So this ayah is about who? About Quraysh, people of Quraysh. وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. Allah does not like the transgressors. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَقَتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُمْ وَأَخْرِجُوهُمْ مِنْ حَيْثُ أَخْرَجُوكُمْ وَالْفِتْنَةُ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ. Now, the mushrikeen would have said, oh, Muhammad and his people, they are ready to fight in the Shahr al-Haram, and they're going to attack us in Mecca and all of that. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, the fitna of kicking you out of Mecca, making you leave your children, all that, it is worse than killing, right? And they are the ones who kicked you out of Mecca. You are not the one who is fighting them just because you like to fight them. So Allah Azza wa Jalla is answering the doubts that the mushrikeen might bring forward, right? Like bring forward. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, if fighting happens between you and the Quraysh, then do not just feel that you are violating the Shahr al-Haram here. They are the ones who violated it, and you're just replying to it. So don't hold back and get yourself killed. ولا تقاتلوهم. See further. ولا تقاتلوهم عند المسجد الحرام. There is the Masjid al-Haram, the area which is called. There is the Bayt al-Haram, the Kaaba. The Masjid al-Haram is the area which is called the Masjid, like people pray in. Until the sujood, the area that's called masjid, the limits of the masjid. Al-Balad al-Haram is Mecca. Al-Haram, Hudud al-Haram, includes even Mecca and goes out of Mecca, certain area. Arafat is not from al-Haram. Arafat is not Haram, right? So this is, and I just want you to imagine as circles, right? You have the Kaaba, that's called al-Bayt al-Haram. You have around it al-Masjid al-Haram, where the Jama'ah behind the Imam is. It's called al-Masjid al-Haram. So there's a masjid, like our masjid, this masjid, that masjid, that's called al-Masjid. Not the streets around it, right? Now, you have al-Balad al-Haram, which is called Mecca. All Mecca with all its suburbs and everything, it's called al-Balad al-Haram. Sacred, But when we say the word al-haram, the limits of al-haram, that's a different category, the different thing, right? So parts of Mecca is in al-haram, parts of Mecca is not in al-haram. Right? يعني Arafat is in Mecca, not in Medina يعني, or Taif, right? Arafat is known in the city of, but Arafat is not in the sacred area. It is not in the area which is called haram. Al-haram يعني a person cannot hunt in it, you cannot do certain things in al-haram, right? So that it have the limits يعني. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, don't fight them in Masjid al-Haram unless somebody fight you in it. That's why in Jahiliyyah, people who have murder between them. يعني كان الرجل, they said a man, he will meet face to face with the one who killed his father or his brother or his son, and he cannot do anything to him while they're making tawaf around the Kaaba, right? That's how safe it was and how respectable it was. They used to respect it to that limit, right? People looking for someone to revenge from who murdered, their family member, and they were in the tawaf, they see them in front of them, they can't do anything. Right? They can't do anything as long as they are within the limits of al-haram, the haram, and I'm telling you. Not only around the Kaaba, they are masjid, they go eat and drink in the streets of Makkah, I cannot do anything to them. They are in the haram. You see how respecting it is? And if they would execute someone even for a crime or something, it has to be done out also of al-haram, out of respect to shed the blood or hurt someone in al-haram. Alright? So Allah Azza wa Jalla said, you don't do that. Because they said, oh, now Muhammad and his companions are going to come and they were going to shed the blood in al-haram, right? So Allah revealed the Quran, telling them that that's what you guys saying. Here is our answer to you.
So it becomes a sanctuary.
Yes. So it says, we don't shed the blood. But if somebody, withdraw the sword and about to hit someone, you have to defend yourself. Right? So, وَلَا تُقَاتِلُومْ عِنْدَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ حَتَّى يُقَاتِلُوكُمْ فِيهِ, till they kill you in it. فَإِنْ قَاتَلُوكُمْ, if they start, فَاقْتُلُوهُم, then you kill them. كَذَلِكَ جَزَاءُ الْكَافِرِينَ, this is the result for the disbelievers. فَإِنْ انْتَهَوْا, if they don't, and they stop, فَلَا عُدْوَانَ فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. You see how forgiving is Allah? So fighting or killing or shooting blood is not, that's what we look for, alright? But if it has to be done as a result of someone initiating it, I couldn't avoid it, right? I would not like to fight, I would not like to do it, but you forced us to do it. So don't blame later. Allah Azza wa Jalla also says, why the fighting? He said, حَتَّى لَا تَكُونَ فِتْنَةً. So there is no fitna. Fitna, turmoil, trial for people who keep corrupting in the religion, who will keep doing things opposing to it. وَيَكُونَ الدِّينُ لِلَّهِ. Deen is for Allah Azza wa Jalla. فَإِنْ انْتَهَوْا, if they stop and leave you alone, فَلَا عُدْوَانَ إِلَّا عَلَى الظَّالِمِينَ. يعني no transgression, or you do not attack except to those who transgress. Okay? All these ayat يعني giving us within the same concept. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says الشهر الحرام بالشهر الحرام والحرمات قصاص. الشهر الحرام بالشهر الحرام والحرمات قصاص. So now I understand the point of fighting and all of this. All right. Shahr al-Haram, we have the month of Muharram, the month of Rajab, the month of Dhul Qa'dah, and the month of Dhul Hijjah. 4, huh? Allah Azza wa Jalla said, منها أربعة حرم. Muharram, Rajab, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah. The last 2 of the year. And if you want to remember them very well, right? there are 3 behind each other. Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, and Muharram of the following year. Then month of Rajab alone by itself. Alright? So you, to remember them better, month number 11, month number 12, then month number 1, then you have month number 7, which is Rajab. Okay? So Allah Azza wa Jal said, الشهر الحرام بالشهر الحرام. If someone attacks a Muslim in a الشهر الحرام and shed the blood, then do not hesitate to execute them also in الشهر الحرام. يعني Allah Azza wa Jal said الشهر الحرام بالشهر الحرام. يعني when you're violating it, do not play on the issue that I respect it, so I'm not going to harm you. Some people play on that technique, by the way. I'll give you a current example. So some people would know that, okay, you are a religious person and all of that, you are not going to call the police on them, right? Because you don't want to create a fitna in the community. So they will do something really bad to you. The only solution is to call the police on them. But they know that you're not going to call the police on them, so they will do it anyways, right? Because if you call the police, oh, you're the sheikh, you're the religious man, you are not supposed to do this, come on, what is the patience, what is the khutbahs you gave and all of that? Well, Allah Azza wa Jalla responded. He said, لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم. Allah does not like you to say bad things as a reply and make it public, except if you are transgressed. So if you are transgressed, you come out and take your right. Okay, so giving up my right is something up to me, but don't force me to do it. Make sense? So like, I am forgiving, I am patient, I give up my right, but that's up to me to do. If I seek my right, nobody should blame me for it. Okay? It is my right. And if only I obtain my right, I try to obtain my right peacefully, try to protect myself. But if it does not happen, and the other person, then I have to do it in public, and nobody should come and tell me, oh, it was expected better than that from you. And the Quran says, فَمَنْ عَفَى وَأَصْلَحْ فَأَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. يعني whoever forgive and forget, his reward is with Allah. But then Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَلَمَنْ انتصر بعد ظلمه فَأُولَئِكَ مَا عَلَيْهِم مِّن سَبِيلٍ. And whoever seek his victory after he was transgressed, nobody should stand in their way and nobody should, blame them for anything. See, fairness in our religion. But unfortunately, the way we understand things sometimes is defective, right? Like, seeking the right and justice is the base of our deen. It is the base of our deen. To give it up, it's something to the person. Is not to be pressured to do it. I want you to understand the concept fully. Like, to give up my right, it should not be because of you make me shy. You shouldn't do that. You should not make me shy, so I give up my right. Okay? So you come and say, يعني أنت الشيخ وأنت you are the sister, you are studying and you are the this and that. What people would say about you and all of this make you kind of a little bit shy, so you withdraw. But there is something in your heart. You are never satisfied. Are you? It happened to you before, I'm sure. You're never satisfied from inside. But if you yourself forgive, you have that clarity in your heart. Right? So if you decide to forgive, it's kind of a izzah. You have the izzah, right? You know what? I can hurt you, but I forgive you. And that izzah is given to you by Allah Azza wa Jal. Right? So I become patient, but not weak. Yeah, it's not like weak. No, I can do things, but I am forgiving. Okay? So, you know what? I'm going to do such and such and such. Right? In the past few days, someone came to me here and have an issue with someone else. Right? They came to me here in their way to make a police report. Yeah. So that person came here for some issue erupted, and he wanted to pursue legal stuff, right? and we'll go now to do the police report. Okay? So we have to agree first who has the right and who doesn't. Right? Then after that, we found out that this brother really have a right. And no one supported him to get the right. Okay? So now the only way to get his right is through going the way. So he said, yes, you have the right. And I cannot tell you to give up your right. Right? But I have to remind you, with the reward, if you give up your right from the point of strength, not the point of weakness. You are able to. It is absolutely your right. Nobody supported you. So this is the only way is to get from the authority. All that is your right. Okay? But are you willing to fix this without going to this system? Yeah. If it is recognized, yeah, that person has to apologize to you. We have to sit and we have to do these things and this and this and that. Would that be okay with you? Yeah, alhamdulillah. So you understand how the dynamic of things? It is not like, come on, man, we are Muslims. You're going to make people look at us like this. And then, okay, he gives up, but from inside, he still hates the person. He feels that he's transgressed. He feels that it did not get his right. And the next time if it happens, it can be worse. He would not even come to me. You understand? So you have to balance that. So Quran is balancing this for us. Okay, Quran is balancing. الشهر الحرام الشهر الحرام والحرمات قصاص. You violated my right in the time of prohibition. Don't expect me, because it is a time of prohibition, that I will not retaliate or I will not take my right. No, I'll take my right the same way because I'm allowed to. Alright? I respect it, so I will not start. But I can reply. I am not the person who would say harsh words. But if you speak to me harshly, I'm allowed to speak back to you harshly. And don't say, oh, I am like an ignorant jahil, but you are a alim. You cannot reply to me like this. Alright? So that's the unfortunate part that we deal with each other with, right? So you find like someone, and then in the masjid or the community or something like that, and someone is attacking, and as long as you're quiet, everybody likes you and loves you. Okay, but the minute you start talking and defending yourself, come on, he's just a jahil, but then that can increase. And instead of one person becomes two, becomes three, becomes four, right? And then it takes it as a sign of weakness. And then it goes to the next level. And one generation after another, then the haqq is messed up, right? It's gone. So be careful with that balance. When you give up, it is because I want to. It is not because I'm pressured to. Because I want to forgive, because this is my choice, right? It is so good when everybody telling you, you know what, call the police on that person. You know what, sue that guy. And everybody says he deserves it. And you say, you know what, no. But I'm the one who decides that. Yeah? If I decide to do it, everybody just be quiet because you did not do anything. You did not help me when I needed your help. Right? So nobody have the right. I would come and I would say, I am going to do that, and none of you have the right to tell me what to do, because this is the right given to me by Rabbul Alameen subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I want my right fully right now. Okay? So it's a balance of things, and Allah Azza wa Jalla is showing us that in the Quran with the beginning of Islam. And this is Mecca. This is Kaaba. This is Shahr al-Haram. This is Bayt al-Haram. And it is happening like this. What about the regular? Okay. And the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us. He said that one of the worst things that you take from your brother is with the sword of shyness. He called it Sayful Haya. Sayf is the sword. Haya means modesty or shyness. Somebody make you shy. Right? Sayf al-Haya. I have that item or that pen, which I like so much and it's dear to me. He said, wow, it's so nice. I wish I have it. I wish I have something like that. Now you are putting me in an awkward situation, right? Do I give it to you, or I just keep it, or how it works, right? Saif al-Haya also, if somebody owes me some money, right? And then, they come and say, you are rich and this money doesn't mean anything to you, right? I'm in need of this. Just consider that you lost the money or whatever. I said, okay, you don't have to pay me. But do I really mean it? But do I really mean to give it up? But you made me do that. That's Saif al-Haya. It's like putting a sword over my neck. Either I become modest and shy, or I become greedy with my right. Subhanallah, it's my right. It is my right. Okay, I loaned you $10. Well, $10 doesn't mean anything to me, but it's my right. You cannot tell me give it up because you have lots of $10. No, I don't want to give it up. Like someone said, Sheikh, why you don't talk to such and such person? About what? Just give me a $50,000 loan. It happened. $50,000 when I said, huh? I did not ask him to give me $1,000 loan. You want me to ask him, because he's my friend, to give you $50,000 loan? Sheikh, you don't know anything. $50,000 loan? He makes like 50 million a year. So 50,000 is nothing. And he's right about how much that man makes, right? He's right. So he said, oh, he makes that. One advertisement in the TV with basketball or like that, he's whatever. So I said, but does that mean that he has to give you 50,000? He said, yeah, he should. I said, only you? He said, yeah. I said, but there are many people like you in the community. If they stand in the line, his wealth times 100 is not going to be enough. And Allah did not obligate him to do that. Why should I obligate him, or we should obligate him? So people feel entitled. This sense of entitlement is not only for the rich, by the way. Rich also have sense of entitlement, like because I have a car, or because I have the money, or because I have this, I'm entitled to certain status. No, you're not. Allah is the one who gives that status to people. Poor also should not feel entitled because I am poor. Everyone rich owes me something. No. Some people would love to have your health for the world, right? So you have something that Allah, but you are not aware of it because you always look to what you are missing, not what you have. What you are missing is what you're looking for, and so on and so forth, right? So Allah Azza wa Jal is telling us that when you do things, you do it willingly when it is your right. And that's why حقوق العباد, or the rights of people, subhanallah, is the first thing that will be asked about in our relationships in the Day of Judgment. The rights of others. So salah is the first thing you will be asked about in the category of ibadah. The rights of others is the first thing that you'll be asked about the relationships. Rights of others. The blood, especially the blood, people who kill others or did that. Then comes the financial things. Then it comes the family relations. Each one. So it's a long day, yeah. Very long day. Yeah. Somebody raised their hand?
Oh, I was asking, how do you reconcile by if you give up your right, involve that person to transgress someone else or at a bigger the next time?
That's what I'm saying.
Get away with it.
That's what I'm saying. You have.
So you want to, but for the bigger picture, you would cause more trouble.
Yeah, that's why it is your right. Your right, and it is very clear. If taking your right first satisfies your right, second it prevents them, then you actually should do it that way. You should not be giving up. So if there is a bigger benefit in taking your right, then you should take your right that way. Comes another issue, warning others from someone's evil, even if they're not aware. It becomes a duty sometimes. Becomes a duty. Ghaiba or backbiting is forbidden, right? Except that it's allowed in few cases. To warn somebody before marriage, before partnership, like someone you know for sure, beyond doubt, it's not hearsay, right? That person, he made partnership with others and make them lose, right? So you go and warn that person, and you have to also decide the degree of warning. Okay, you go and you say, do your homework better, especially with that person. Do you know something? Yes, but I'm not sure. Something like that. You see, I'm not sure. I heard such and such and such, but I'm not accusing the man if you're not sure, right? But just because you're dear to me and I'm warning you ahead of time, the duty of the other person is not to go till that, oh, such and such told about you. That's namima now, right? It becomes a problem, a bigger problem now. So if you are advised, take the advice and do your homework. But don't make it worse by, because people will not advise now each other, because they're afraid they will be in trouble or exposed, right? It's amana on me and amana on you. Right? That's why knowledge is very important. When you seek knowledge, you know those intricacies of things. Okay? Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam say, Al-Mustasharu Mu'taman. Yani if you ask me, I have to answer you with what I know. If you ask me, I have to answer you with what I know. Right? And then I will tell you what you need, what you benefit, what benefits you. I don't have to share with you everything either. Right? I'll tell you what benefits you. So if someone about to do a business transaction or a relationship with someone, and you know that something horrible is going to happen, right? But, for example, if somebody was a criminal, let's say someone was a criminal in his life, and he repented to Allah Azza wa Jalla, and he became so good, and someone come and tell me, I don't have to share the past. Ask me, I don't have to share the past. I share with you what it is now, right? But what about the past? I'm hearing things here and there, ya Sheikh. Even if I'm sure of what that person was, I say, Subhanallah, Inna Allah Tawwabur Rahim, Allah Ghafurur Rahim. And instead of discussing the details of a phase, right? Let's see what we know for sure now, right? So there are things like that. So if you are asked, you have to deliver the amana wisely. And if you are not asked, but you see an imminent danger, it's going to happen, because a personal experience or because someone's personal experience, then you should share and warn people. Testifying in the court, it's not ghaibah, because you are going to say about someone, like they take you or subpoena you or something like that, and then you have to speak in front of them or behind them. What you do? No. So you should give. Wife complaining about her husband to the sheikh or to the counselor or to the therapist or to the judge, and vice versa, is not considered ghaibah. Right? Yani Hind came and complained about Abu Sufyan in his absence. She said, Ya Rasulullah, Abu Sufyan is a miser man. He does not give me what is enough for me. And he said, take what is enough for you and your children. And that's it. Yani maybe Abu Sufyan did not hear about this hadith in all his life. That hadith was narrated after the death of everybody. You see? So it's just like that, yani. So those things, not called ghaiba. So testifying in the court, complaining between husband and wife, asking a question or for fatwa and things like that, it's not considered ghaiba if you are mentioning someone by their name, if it is necessarily in the question, or by their characteristic. Warning from an enemy or from an imminent danger. All those are exceptions of ghaiba. The whole foundation of this is the maslaha. What is the benefit? And to be able to decide the benefit, you need to start studying more and more of the ilm, of the knowledge. Allah Azza wa Jalla give you the ability to distinguish when and how much and all of those things. The hikmah, right? Allah said, يُؤْتِ الْحِكْمَةَ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. He gives hikmah to whomever He wishes. Whoever is given hikmah, He is given an abundance, goodness and abundance. So you ask Allah for hikmah. So Allah Azza wa Jal, after that, He said, فَمَنْ اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ فَاعْتَدُوا عَلَيْهِ بِمِثْلِ مَا اعْتَدَى عَلَيْكُمْ. So if somebody transgress you, so you do the same to them. And اتقوا الله, have taqwa to Allah. وَعَلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Allah is always with the muttaqeen. From this ayah also the ulama told us that in our current life, you prepare yourself if you have another nation threatening you, then you have to prepare yourself. If the military is going more, then you prepare your military. If they have excel more in technology, then you should excel in technology, right? So always be up to what is happening around you on an individual level and on the family level and the social level. Instead of competing in the dunya, right? Always be ready to face the challenges of the world around you. The challenges of the world around you. Don't live in denial, right? You don't live in denial. Always be ready for the challenges around. Then Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَأَنفِقُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Sabilillah in Quran, when it's mentioned, the ulama with the opinion, there are ulama with the opinion that always goes to the jihad, the fighting, the army, the military, right? أنفقوا في سبيل الله means you spend more. In our life now, if your country has a military, you spend on that, you donate to that. The taxes goes to that. في سبيل الله. ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة. But سبيل الله, by the way, it is open, يعني bigger than that. في سبيل الله يعني anything that helps or serves the path of Allah, the word of Allah, the deen of Allah, the religion of Allah. So في سبيل الله, helping the masajid, helping the schools, helping the da'wah, brochures, and so on. Right? وأنفقوا في سبيل الله. ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة. Now don't throw yourself in what your demise, right? ولا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة. طبعا before that party here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in verse 190 that you fight in the cause of Allah those who fight you. From that also the ulama said you only fight those who are fighting. Yani do not go kill civilians. Alright? It's opposite to what warfare is all about now. They will call it what they call it? Casualty of war or
Collateral damage.
here you go. Collateral damage. That word is not known in Islam. There's no such a thing like collateral damage. It means in the way. You were in the way, like, or to kill that, I had to kill 10, 15 people, so be it. Doesn't work like that. Allah Azza wa Jal precisely said, only those who fight. One time Rasulullah was going and after a war and he found a woman who was killed and he did not like that. He did not like that. And they told him the same thing. It could not be avoided, right? He said, no, it could be avoided. And you will never ever do this again. Don't kill an old man. Don't kill a child. Don't kill a woman unless she's carrying and she's fighting, right? Kill a woman. Don't kill a worshipper. And that's actually the part that always fascinates me. The worshipper is not a Muslim worshipper. So people would think like we are fighting because they are worshipping another. You see the point here? It's so ironical, like people think that we are fighting because they are opposite to the religion. And the Prophet said, if someone practicing their religion, that's enough justification not to kill them. You don't, because they are religious people. You don't. Unless they are using their place of worship to support that's another story now. Okay? So they're giving food and drink and all of that and protecting them and they, spend it there and then they come out attack. Now then it's a problem now. But the Prophet said if they are isolating themselves from the issue of the war, you cannot attack. You cannot attack civilian area, you cannot attack a house, you cannot break a door on somebody and go and kill the people inside, or you can't do that. Right? So, وَقَاتِلُوا بِسَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ. Only those who fight you. So that was a very important
And
part.
also in the Surah of Al-Kafirun, it's also stated how we use...
You worship what you worship, I worship what you worship. Yeah, the Surah Al-Kafirun, it came in Mecca because they were negotiating with the Prophet that you worship our gods and we worship yours. So it was like kind of a deal. So Surah Al-Kafirun is a reply that no, each one has his own thing, right? And Islam is all about making treaties and accords and dealing with each other within the limitation, it's not about, fighting is not the main issue. So when you find someone coming and saying, "Oh, it's Islamic State," they use the wrong word, man. They use the word so everybody can hate the term, and that's very smart, it's intelligent, Like anything that has a value, it becomes devalued. So the word jihad means lots of goodness. Right now, everybody doesn't want to jihad. Oh, jihad is jihadi. Jihad is no jihad. Oh, that word not there, right? You don't do that. Yeah, Salafism, Wahhabism, Salafi. That equals extreme. Oh, so you don't see Salafi, right? Like this brotherhood, Ikhwan, everything Ikhwan, until it became like an insult. Are you Ikhwan? It's like I don't want even to say that. So demonizing the terms to demonize the concept, right? They bring a guy in, very ignorant guy in Egypt, and he started criticizing the Sunnah. Then he started criticizing the Sahaba, and then he started criticizing the Prophet. Then he criticized Allah Azza wa Jal and the Quran, step by step, because people are quiet, silent. And guess what's his name? His name is Islam. And how he made his show? He said, with Islam. So if you hear the show, مع Islam, يعني with Islam, the religion, but he's saying with him, like the guy. So you see how the tricks play? Yeah. So some terrorist group comes and they call themselves Islamic State. Is this just a coincidence? It's not a coincidence. So all the Muslims hate the idea of having an Islamic State. Right? So when somebody says, what do you think about the Islamic State? Then you're going to say, it's a group of terrorists, actions that, da. Good. Your children hearing this, and next generation hearing that. So no such a thing should be there as the word Islamic State. You see the... So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us, قاتلوا في سبيل الله الذين يقاتلونكم, those who fight you. Very clear to distinguish between things. And there are many rules. I'm just trying to avoid, as I said, going to in depth. There is the issue of a person, what's called now as suicide bombing, right? Yeah. And the issue of not suicide bombing as it is in the civilian area. We're not talking about that. We're talking about now war between two armies, okay? So we are explaining within that context. Because suicidal attack, let's call it like the kamikaze thing, right? So I just wanted to bring it out of the Islamic perspective for a minute, right? So that concept, it is not an Islamic concept as people might think. That's number one. Number two, currently it is practiced by non-Muslims more than Muslims. Yani the statistics, all that says this suicide attacks. We are not saying suicide bombing of civilian. Come on, this is not what we talk about. This is repudiated all the way. This is rejected, denounced by all means. You cannot do that. One word, right? Civilian areas is a no-no, right? That's you cannot. Now the difference is when two armies fighting, can one person throw himself knowing that he will die in the process or not? That is the point here of difference we're talking about. Okay? So that concept, as I said, it's not an Islamic concept, it's a human concept. A human concept when the soldier's life as an individual becomes the price that he or she, the soldier, willing to give to gain more, right? To gain victory, even partial, from their enemy. You understand the concept? So it's a human concept that when I am as a soldier in the army, I know that we are not winning as an army, and I'm not going to be winning as an individual for sure, but let me inflict as much as damage as I can, and that the price for that damage is my own life. You get that point? So it was done left and right from the beginning of history. Okay? So it's not an Islamic concept. So if we put it as an Islamic concept, then it becomes an issue. And we also excluded the civilian part. This is a crime. You cannot come and do Oklahoma City bombing, Boston Marathon, 9/11. All of this, يعني not acceptable. One word, it's يعني we don't negotiate in this, right? Somebody have that interpretation. It's crooked. It is messed up. It is not right. We're talking now about people who are in a state of war. Again, a state of war will have a debate, right? Like it's happening in Palestine. It's happening this. Right? So we're not going to get into that detail. But the scholars, when they talked about what if a person would do that. And it is done at the time of the Prophet, by the way, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that there was a group of the Sahaba. They were sent to teach a couple of tribes who came and pretended that they became Muslims. Okay? They couldn't attack Medina, and they cannot have independent war with the Prophet. So they said, let's drag as many of his companions as possible and we assassinate them. Okay? So they took they came and they said, we want to become Muslim and all of that. So the Prophet sent 40 of his Sahaba, Qurra, yani reciters of Quran and knowledgeable people with them. So when they went, at some time, two of them went to take care of the camels and the horses, far, and they are sitting at night making Qiyamul Layl and reading Quran and all of that. So, and they're far from Medina, so they came and they executed all of them. Okay, so they killed all of them while they are peaceful, while they are not doing anything at night. So those two who were far, seeking the food for they came and they did not hear the sound of Quran and all of that, so they felt scared. So they went and they saw these people all dead, and few of them, of those, they are there making sure that they're all dead. Finishing all of that. So the two of them debated, do we go back to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam or we go fight? So now the issue is, they know if they go fight, they will die for sure, right? So that's a suicidal attack, right? But now I have the leverage of going inflicting some harm, not being like my brothers who just died without knowing. So I'm going to go do something, even though I know that I'll end up this shaheed, right? So one of them went and he died. One of them went and told the Prophet ﷺ what happened. Okay? So that's I'm just giving you the historical background. So the ulama, they now debated that if the harm, it is going only to be yours, and so two things. One, that there is enough benefit that will happen. Number two, there are less harm, or some harm will happen to you alone. So now, if this enemy come back at your family, for example, then you shouldn't do it. Because now you are threatening somebody else's life. It's not your life alone. That's number one. Number two, I get myself hurt, but there is nothing will happen on the other side. It doesn't affect anything, right? So I'm taking a small dagger, and these people have like automatic weapons, right? So when I go there and when I take one step, I'm done already, and no harm happened to them. Plus they go behind my family after. Then I should not do that. You see the balance of things? So you have to calculate two things. How much harm will come to you and you alone, not anybody behind you, or you cause a bigger problem, and that really there is some benefit in that. The war terms, right? So if this is understood, then we know what does that mean. Allah Azza wa Jal saying that you spend for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't transgress and all of that. وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Some people think it is not going to fight, but actually it is the opposite. وَلَا تُلْقُوا بِأَيْدِيكُمْ إِلَى التَّهْلُكَةِ. Avoiding to fight when you are able to and you are needed. That's why there is some what they call it, obligatory draft, like when we're in a state of war, right? State of war, any country, Muslim or non-Muslim or any country now, that when the country announces state of war, then everybody in the age, they are obligatorily drafted. And what if they don't? Then they go to jail. It's like a treason. Correct? So, لا تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة here, it is like when this case happened and the fighting comes, don't throw yourself in your demise by not joining. So some people think تلقوا بأيديكم إلى التهلكة means don't go fight. Nah, you should go fight if you are needed, and if you don't, you are destroying yourself in front of Allah Azza wa Jal. If you are able to spend and you are not spending, it is opposite. The people think that if I spend, my money decreases. No, Allah Azza wa Jalla said your money decreases if you don't spend. Right? If you don't spend. It's just like that. وأحسنوا يعني do the إحسان. إحسان, subhanallah. I gave a khutbah in California last week about إحسان. And this إحسان is a very beautiful concept. It's a concept. Manifestation of it is your actions. So the act of ihsan. When Allah Azza wa Jal ordered us to deal with each other, He ordered us to deal with each other fairly. But when He ordered us to deal with our parents, He said with ihsan. But He never, Allah Azza wa Jal or the Prophet never asked the parents to deal with ihsan to their kids. But always asked the kids to deal with ihsan to their parents. Why? Anybody knows?
Because we do it out of obligation for our parents. Our parents do it for us. It's out of love. And
Natural.
Yes.
It comes natural. Parents always do ihsan to their children. It comes spontaneous, natural, right? But the kids do it out of obligation. So Allah said you have to exceed the limit. You exceed the limit of what you're trying to do. So ihsan, Allah Azza wa Jal make ihsan on everything. Actually, ihsan is from hasan, means bettering something, means something good, right? Right? And ihsan, if'al. Remember the molds of Arabic? Fa'ala. So whenever you have the word if'al, means going more, right? So ikram is being more generous. Ihsan, being more good, like better. And so on. Iqbal means you come extra. Idbar, you run away. It's like doing more of that action. Right? So when you say ihsan, means doing more. So ihsan is the reason of our creation. There is an ayah of Quran saying that. The beginning of Surah Al-Mulk. هو الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم. So He's the one who created life and death to test you who can be better. أيكم أحسن عملا. So ihsan actually is the point of our creation, life and death, to see who is going to compete and become good. So Allah Azza wa Jalla said وأحسنوا, and always ihsan. So your salah have to have ihsan, wudu have to have ihsan. Whenever you do anything, you do it with ihsan, right? So ihsan, that's why it's good when somebody does something, you tell him ahsant, ahsant, you did ihsan, you did good, right? Yeah, especially if somebody is like extra with you. وأحسنوا إن الله يحب المحسنين. Remember I told you before, if you want Allah to love you, go look for, or if you want to make sure that Allah loves you now or not, you go in the Quran or the Sunnah and see where it says Allah loves such and such. Try to be among those such and such, and while you are doing it, you know that Allah loves you. So Allah loves at-tawwabin. Inna Allah yuhibbu at-tawwabin. When you're making sincere tawbah, Allah loves you. وَيُحِبُّ الْمُتَطَهِّرِينَ. Those who make tahara. So when you are making tahara, sincerely, Allah loves you. When you're making ihsan, Allah loves you. When you're making sabr, Allah loves you. Like that. Okay? So, do we enter the Hajj part, or because Hajj part is like long?
We have only 5 minutes.
Type. We'll leave it for question answer, or I can give you the benefit of this part. First thing, the proper, Allah teaches us the proper way of asking questions. Allah teaches us the proper way of asking questions. Number 2, the importance of sighting the moon, the importance of sighting the moon for different acts of worship. I explained to you, right? The beginning of the month and the end of the month. Define for us the fasting, the Hajj, the Zakah, the Iddah, different things, right? Beginning of Shahr al-Haram, ending of Shahr al-Haram. So there are lots of ahkam would be built based on sighting the moon. Okay? Number 3, the fairness being fair, يعني, the fairness of Islam in seeking one's right, and getting justice. Like when you say, I want justice, right? So getting justice. So fairness of Islam in seeking one's right and getting justice. Individually and collectively, means like with individuals or with the jama'ah or with nations, right? So how Islam is fair. So this covers the whole thing. Last one, al-ihsan as a foundation of our life. All right.